Good morning, everyone. Please stand up for our opening prayer to be led by Stara. Once again, good morning, class. So before you take your seats, please pick up some pieces of papers under your table and please arrange your chairs properly. Thank you. You may now take your seats. So before we will start, always remember our classroom rules. First, listen carefully when the teacher is talking or someone is talking in front. And second, avoid cheating and talking with your seatmates or classmates. And third, respect your teachers and your classmates all the time. Did you get it? Very good. Now, I will let you watch a video. Please focus your attention to the video and listen carefully because afterwards, we will have an activity.
Every story has four elements. Every story has four elements. You leave one out, it won't make any sense. Every story has four elements. You gotta have a plot, you gotta have a theme. Don't forget the characters and a setting or scene. You gotta have a plot, you gotta have a theme. Don't forget the characters and a setting or scene. The plot's gonna tell you what the story's all about. The theme is the message that the author's putting out. You know what the characters are, but we'll say it anyway. They're the people or the animals illustrated on the page. The setting tells you when and where the story's taking place. This foundation can make a story great. Every story has four elements. Every story has four elements. You leave one out, it won't make any sense. Every story has four elements. You gotta have a plot, you gotta have a theme. Don't forget the characters and setting or scene. You gotta have a plot, you gotta have a theme. Don't forget the characters and setting or scene.
Okay, did you learn something from the video? That's great. Now for our activity, I have here the story of the ant and the grasshopper. Are you familiar with this story? If not, let's read it together and find out what the story is all about. Now, let's start. The ant and the grasshopper. In a field, one summer's day, a grasshopper was hopping about, chirping and singing to its heart's content. An ant passed by, bearing along with great toil an ear of a corn he was taking to the nest. "Why not come and chat with me?" said the grasshopper, "instead of toiling and moiling in that way." "I am helping to lay up food for the winter," said the ant, "and recommend you to do the same." "Why bother about winter?" said the grasshopper. "We have got plenty of food at present." But the ant went on its way and continued its toil. When the winter came, the grasshopper had no food and found itself dying on hunger. While it saw the ants distributing everyday corn and grain from the stores they had collected in the summer, then the grasshopper knew it is best to prepare for days of need. So, that's the story of the ant and the grasshopper. Now, I will ask you some questions about this story. What is the story all about? Anyone? Okay. Very good. Now, who are the characters in the story? Alright, so the characters in the story are the ant and the grasshopper. So where did the story happen? So the story happened in the field. Now when did the story happen? So it happened one summer's day. So what happened in the story? Who can tell me what happened in the story? Yes. Very good. Now, do you have any idea about our lesson for today? Okay, so our lesson for today is all about the 4 basic elements in the story. And that is the setting, characters, plot, and the theme. Now, let's discuss first the setting. So it is where and when the story set. Setting represents both physical location but also the time and the social and cultural conditions in which the characters exist. So it is when and where the story happened. For example, where? In the field, in the palace, or in the river. And when? For example, summer day, rainy day, in the morning, or in the night. So again, it is when and where the story happened. Did you get it? Very good. Now, let's proceed to the characters. So characters can be a person or animal or really anything personified. There can be one main characters or many. And often, there are also secondary characters, but not always. So it can be a person, animal, entity, or imaginary creatures in the story. So for example, the ant, the grasshopper, the princess, the king, the giant, the dragon, or the little girl. So it can be a person, animal, entity, or any imaginary creatures in the story. Understood? Very good. Now, let's proceed to the plot. So, the plot consists of the events that happen in the story. In a plot, you typically find an introduction, rising action, a climax, and the falling action, and a resolution. So, plot is often represented as an arc. So, it is all actions that takes place during the story. So, for example, this one. When the winter came, the grasshopper had no food and found itself dying on hunger. While it saw the ants distributing everyday corn and grain from the store they had collected in the summer. So, it is the falling action. Another example is in the story, the king and queen died together. So, again, it consists of the events that happen in the story. Did you understand it? Very good. For the last element, we have here the theme. So, it is the idea, belief, moral, lesson, or insight. It is the central argument that the author is trying to make the reader understand. So, the theme is the why of the story. So, it is the message of the story. So, for example, for the story of the ant and the grasshopper, we have here the moral lesson of the story. So, it is best to prepare for days of need. And another moral lesson for this story is there's a time for work and there's a time for play. Did you get it? Very good. So again, what are the 4 basic elements in the story? So we have the settings. It is where and when the story happened. Another one is the character. It can be a person, animal, entity, or any imaginary creature. And then we have the plot. It consists the events that happened in the story. And the last one, we have the theme. It is the idea, belief, moral lesson, and the message of the story. Okay, very good. Now let's proceed to our next activity. Okay, this time we will apply what you have learned from our discussion a while ago. So I will group you into 5 groups according to your role. And for the instruction, please listen carefully. So you will draw the elements of the story of the ant and the grasshopper. So each student should draw one element of the story. So for example, the one student will draw the characters and the others will draw the settings, the plot, or the theme. Did you get it? Very good. So after you completed your drawings, cut them out and attach it to the popsicle sticks, and you have to summarize the story while presenting it in front of the class. Okay, so you have to organize the events in the story and complete the elements by presenting it in front of the class. Did you get the instruction? Okay, very good. Now, start doing it with your group mates. Okay, so time's up. It's time to present your work in front of the class. Thank you everyone for a job well done. Give yourself a round of applause. Now again, what are the 4 basic elements of the story? Okay, so we have the setting, characters, plot, and the theme. Okay, now, it is where and when the story happened. Okay, very good. So we have the settings. Now, it is a person, an animal, being, creature, or thing in a story. Okay, so it is the characters. Now, what do you call to the event that happened in the story? So that is the plot. Now, it is the message of the story. Very good. It is the theme. So, it seems like you really understand the topic. Now, let's have a quiz. Okay, this time, we will assess your understanding by answering this 5 items quiz. For the instruction, you have to identify the elements of the story and choose the letter of the correct answer inside the box. So get your paper and your pencil and start answering now. You have 5 minutes to finish it. Okay, time's up. Pass your papers in front. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you so much for your cooperations. Did you learn something from today's discussion? That's good. Now, for your assignment, I will give you this worksheet and bring this at home. You have to read the story carefully and answer the following questions. Understood? Okay, very good. So, that's all for today. Thank you so much for your cooperation. I hope you enjoyed our class. See you tomorrow and goodbye, everyone.